Welcome once again to the Jason Reuter Show here on BCHS.TV. I'm your host, Gary Ownbey, as we talk about Bearcat basketball this week. As always, our show is produced here in Studio H12 on the campus of Bradley Central High School. Mr. Gwen Schroyer's studio here. We appreciate the students making all this possible. The guys behind the scenes that you don't see, we couldn't do it without them. We sincerely appreciate their help. Coach Reuter, looking at some things, I guess the latest poll we have, the Bears are number 2 alone. 4 first place votes out of the riders there. Not far behind Beard now, who's still the defending state champion, still unbeaten, I guess, until they lose. Then you got to keep voting them number 1, and they're doing good, having a good year. The Bears also having a good year, 21-0, ranked number 1 with Max Preps in the state. You know, and that's across all classifications, and number 1, of course, in 4A. But getting a lot of respect, and rightfully so, I believe. But are you where you thought you would be this time of year? Does it surprise you? Or are you, knock on wood, you know, despite a couple of pretty critical injuries, keep plowing right along?
Well, I mean, you hope, you have dreams, aspirations, and you have goals, but we don't really set goals on rankings. I've told our girls that's just on paper. It is flattering. It's something that makes you proud. I think our girls are proud. There's only been one team at the end of the year with a gold ball in each class. Of course, that's 4 of them, single A, double A, and triple and 4. But we're 21-0. I knew you got an idea after the summer, but you don't. There's things like injuries and chemistry and how good your opponents are. And I think Knox Catholic had losing the Maines girl this summer, and then she came back, but we thought they would be a little tougher. And then, LFO, it's twice we've played them undefeated, but as you see the results, I mean, so we went to Charleston, South Carolina, looking good teams, looking for some competition. I think we played one really, really good team, Cardinal
Gibbons.
Gibbons is, I've seen on Max Prep, they're in maybe the top 20 in North Carolina among all classes. So, I'm proud of our girls. So far, you may say we played some weak teams, and we have, and we've played some fairly good teams. Greenville is somebody we tried to play, and Hamilton Heights, you don't know. I mean, I talked to the coach. They said they were starting the program back, bringing in international players. So you just don't really know, and all I can do is worry about my team. But I think we've done what we're supposed to do. I don't think you've walked into a gym and seen us. Well, we should beat a team by 30 and we win by 7. I don't think you've seen that this year.
No, I haven't. No.
So, it's just a daggum injury bug. It's just
updates on that since you mentioned that.
Madeline Schultz, who a lot of people may not be familiar with her, she's primarily a JV player, but a sophomore. She tore ACL in the last week of the season last year, and rehab, came back, started playing about 3 weeks ago. Tore it again at Walker Valley in the JV game. Wow. And now it's going to be a year of rehab. And my heart goes out to her. And then Tuesday night against Cleveland, our 6th, a lot of people say 6th man. I can't get used to that, even though I've coached boys a lot of years. My 6th girl, Grace Phillips, on a non-contact, running fast with a pack of people, tried to stop. One hitter, she went down. We were hoping for the best. We were hoping maybe it was a hamstring, which still could be weeks and weeks. But it turns out it was an MCL and ACL combination. She's done for the year. Both of these girls are going to have surgery in the next 2 weeks. So it's the next girl up. It's got to be our motto here, next girl up. Girls like Malia Wilcox, who's coming off the bench anyhow, her time is probably going to double. Now there's a premium on our players that start not to foul. Of course, we don't want to foul. We've never wanted to foul a lot, but now you have to be ultra smart because our depth is has dropped tremendously. Erica Swick, who's basically been out all year, she played in 2 games. That was with a comeback try. Re-injured her foot. She broke a bone in her foot somewhere, we don't know when. She came back from fall break, and she was gimpy and went and got an x-ray, and they saw a small crack, put her out, tried to come back, hurt it again. So now we kept her out for probably, well, you were at Knox Catholic. I don't know the date. Knox Catholic, I got it right here. So she was playing in her 2nd game back at Knox Catholic on December the 10th.
Early, yeah.
December the 10th. and she's been in a boot until about 10 days ago. So you can do the math on that. So she's feeling good. We've had her on a stationary bike. She's chomping at the bit to get out there. Erica was a projected starter. She started for us last year.
Every game.
Now we hate it for Grace and Madeline, and but if Erica can come back, we're going to let her start practicing lightly, limited time starting tomorrow. There's no reason for her to rush us at this point. We want to try to get her back. If I get Erica back to 85% before this season's over, I'd be tickled about it, because number one, she's already re-injured that foot once, and then tried to come back. I should say injured it, tried to come back, hurt it again. So we're just praying for the best there. Erica would give us a shot of medicine if she comes back. It'd make us a lot deeper.
Yep.
And to win this whole thing, you've got to be lucky, you've got to be good, and you've got to be deep. And so I'm just praying for the best.
Well, sorry I asked about that injury report. I mean, we got it's fact guy talking about. You know, the saving grace is that Madeline and Grace are both underclassmen. So they got a chance to come back. Madeline's sophomore, Grace a junior this year, so they've got a chance if rehab goes good and it works out okay and gets healed up properly, then we can get them back next year. As you say, they're done this year. And getting Erica back would be a huge, huge boost to your team as far as depth and all that goes. Looking at recent games here, and you got 4 starters in double figures out of the 5. The only one's not double figures is Sloan Carpenter. She's your point guard, and you don't look for a point guard to score a lot of points, although she can. You know, she stepped up several times and hit double figures there. And you got, as her backup, you got Malia Wilcox, the fastest girl on the team, and she's extremely capable of filling that position. Sloan's probably one of the best ball handlers, defensive players at point guard you've had. Well, one of the best you had. You've had some really good ones, but she was one of the best there. And then you got a little girl named Aaliyah Osborne. She dropped 18 points on Howard, 5 of 7 3-pointers in that game last Friday.
Yep.
Shemaya Francis, she's the first big girl at the post. What's she done? She's got a college scholarship. She don't even start, so she's doing quite well, you know. Right. And you got another gunner, Abby White, who's just a sophomore. She can light them up. So you don't have the depth that you want. I know you never have enough depth, as you always say. You never do, but you've got some good girls off the bench like Malia and like Aaliyah and like Shemaya and Abby, and girls like that can come in and fill a spot in their role and know what to do and help you out there. They get a lot of playing time here. And with some recent games, we've had some blowouts down like at Howard, and the LFO game got a hand the other day. So a lot of girls getting a lot of playing time, and that boosts them and that boosts your experience there and get your bench stronger and all that. So it's at least a lot of people think you're a pretty good team, but I'm one of those folks. And I think your ranking as number 2 is certainly deserved. And we got a lot of season left to play. We got games at Ottawa tonight. We're recording this Tuesday morning. And then you got a home game with Ray County, 2 district games this week. So a lot of stuff going on.
And then we got a short turnaround, and we'll let them off Saturday. We'll have a short practice Sunday, and we go to McMinn Central on Monday.
Right.
Kind of unusual Monday game. It's not much time to get ready, and they're pretty good.
They're right in the top 10 this week.
Yeah, they're pretty good. And yeah, you know, you were going through some of those girls on the bench. You know, there's nobody's feeling sorry for Bradley Central around here, other than our own fan base and our. So, I mean, I don't think people want to see us get injured, although there might be some. I don't know, but
I hope not.
But the point is, there's nobody feeling sorry for us, because I mean, our starting 5 is you know, I don't know that I would trade our 5 for any. I know I wouldn't. I wouldn't trade my 5 for any 5 in the state. First of all, I'm attached to these kids as not just I'm a coach, but also we have relationships, and you know, loyalty goes both ways. Mm-hmm. You know, these kids are loyal to me, and I'm loyal to them. And if we lose a game, I hope we don't. I did the math. We'd go 36-0 to win a state championship. You could lose before that, but if that's how we run the table. Mm-hmm. But boy, it's so razor fine between winning and losing when you get down to that tournament time, and breaks have to go your way. And you know, we've lost tight games on tough breaks, and we've won a state championship on a break that went our way. So we just got to stay focused, play one game at a time, not get the cart in front of the horse. Right now is a time that I had to motivate these kids because they're human. All right, we play Ottawa tonight. Well, guess what? We beat Ottawa here by 40. So yesterday in practice, I had to crack the whip. Practice time gets shorter. We went for an hour and a half, but it's easy to get distracted. So we need a couple gut checks here down the stretch. We got McMinn Central home and away, and I think that will be 2 games that will get us get our attention a little more.
Yeah,
I'm not knocking. Look, most people would be not talking about clinching the district. I probably made a mistake and said after the Cleveland game that it probably clinched the district because we're heavily favored over Walker Valley. We're heavily favored over McMinn County. We're heavily favored tonight. We'll be heavily favored over Ray County. So we just got to keep on doing what we do and stay together and stay focused. And right now is when you start. Now you mentioned those kids. They've not been in the rotation to Abby White's, who's now has stepped up to. I basically had a meeting with her after Grace's injury. Like you got to, it's time for me to make the next step with you. So you've got to get them in the timing of your offense, and I can play you in a blowout, but you may not be out there with the girls you're going to play with in a tight game. You follow what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Like down at Howard, she's out there basically with the JV team. My starters played 9 minutes against Howard. So we've got to get her in a comfortable role playing with those starters. Second quarter, third quarter, tie game. You're out there with Harmony, Avery, Hannah, Kamora. That's the
game's on the line.
Game's on the line. Game's on the line.
Yeah.
Where our picks and our timing has to be perfect.
You mentioned practice a minute ago too. Is your practice? If I went to your practice first of the season and seen what you were doing in practice, because you're bringing in brand new girls like Kamora to the program, freshman Addie Guerin, freshman coming in there.
Right.
She's seen us play. They both have. Is your practice way different from way back then? Is this day? Are you tweaking and fine-tuning things now? Obviously, you get someone injured. Well, that was a whole new routine you might have to try and practice. Is practice as long? Is it shorter? Or is it?
As the season goes on, your practice tends to get a little shorter. You probably don't make that adjustment until right around after Christmas break. And then you start knocking off a few minutes because you want their legs fresh. And plus, you don't want to burn them out. Okay. We're tired. Everybody's tired. Look, I'm tired, and I've made a mistake when I was a younger coach, maybe practicing a little too long. Some people may cut corners, but I've read this. There's been more gold medals lost from overtraining than undertraining when it gets down to the nitty-gritty.
Yeah.
So I've got to keep them fresh, and now you'd see us focusing more on the game plan for the next opponent. When you walked in on November 1, we would be putting in our offenses and our defenses, but not particularly training for one team.
Yeah.
Now we're working on the next opponent.
Try to figure out who can do what, I guess.
Well, I mean, we know Uwal's going to play a 2-3 zone. We're working on a 2-3 zone offense.
Yeah.
If we know someone's going to trap us, we're working on that. So, yes, it would look a little different. It's still basketball. You're going to hear the shoes squeaking and the balls bouncing, but, and we try not to be too long with our words and, teaching in bullet points. Especially this day and time, kids, they live in a time where, they everything's instant.
Yeah, instant gratification.
The day of sitting and talking to your kid for having 8-minute lectures on the basketball court, that's way of the past. So right now we're trying to correct and get people in the right spots and get ready for our next opponent, and so it would look a little different than beginning of the year. Yep.
Something I'm always interested in too. We have a great statistician who provides us with stat sheets each game, halftime and then the end of the game, and in our sports here, in basketball, football, and all that. Is there something when you pick up that final halftime stat sheet, let's say, or even the final stat sheet, and you've had a really good game, either a blowout game where we've won by 30 or 40, or you've had a tight opponent, a good tight game against a good solid opponent, what's the first stat that you would look at as a head coach says, hey, here's why the game was so tight, because we had this going on.
We're in a tight game, or I would say after we haven't lost this year, but a tight game, I look at the turnovers. That's kind of a pet peeve of mine. 12 is our goal, 12 or under. Mm-hmm. You can see on the year we're at 239. We're way below our opponents, but we should be because we've been better than most of our opponents. But I look at turnovers, and we're struggling. A turnover is, in essence, a missed shot without an offensive rebound is the same result as a turnover, but a missed shot, I have a chance to get an offensive rebound. Also, I could have got fouled on the shot. A turnover is absolutely nothing.
To be a 4-point, a lost possession.
Well, it's absolutely nothing. I got no attempt. I didn't get a chance to get fouled. I didn't get a chance to get an offensive rebound. And I probably didn't make the defense work very hard. So, but all turnovers are not equal. You know, you can lose a game in the first quarter. You can lose one in the second quarter. You know, people, a lot of times they remember the stretch turnovers, but there is winning time. And I know people talk about stepping up at the right time, whatever, but I do think big-time players make plays in big-time situations. But there is something about being clutch down the stretch and not turning the ball over when it's crunch time. And a lot of our turnovers lately have been very unselfish. We're trying to find the open girl, lead. You know, we've thrown the ball away in the last, well, it's LFO in Cleveland. We threw the ball away 4 or 5 times in each game, but they were all unselfish, looking ahead to my teammate. And I got to be careful with that, because that's the best thing I can do there is encourage and say, you know, use a little better judgment here, take a little off your pass. And then the assist is something I look at a lot, especially in a blowout. How much did we share the ball? I think against LFO, we had 23 assists on 29 shots.
Yep.
I mean, that's so 23 shots. We had someone assist the ball to a player to score. That's outstanding. That means only 6 times did a kid go, you know, basically a one-on-one situation without a advance from a teammate. So that tells me a lot. Assist. Now you can miss. Gary, I can throw you that open. If I can throw it over to Avery Brewer, she's got a wide open 3, and we skip it over to her and she misses it. But I'm seeing the effort was there to make it. So sometimes we don't credit enough. You know, you can make the right pass and a kid can just miss the shot.
Well, something I look at too, as part of the media, we have sometimes I like to look at the shooting percentage. Well, if the shooting percentage is not really good, I'll look at the rebounds. How do we do rebound? Well, sometimes we just crush them on rebounds, like with 31-21 advantage here. It doesn't matter sometimes how bad you shoot, but the other shooting stat I like to look at is the free throws. Because free throws to me are crucial, because you could lose a game. A close game is often decided by free throws made or 3 free throws missed.
Absolutely, yeah. You know, you kind of put me in a thinking mode there about what I look at first, but yes, if we lose a game, free throws will be very quickly looked at. We got to improve on that. I mean, you can't, you know, I was talking to my team yesterday there, you know, what's some things you can't do too much? You can't rebound too much. You can't defend too much without fouling. You can't shoot too well from the foul line. You know, nobody shoots 100%, but our goal is to try to get to 70, and we're not there.
Yep.
We're at 64.2.
It's improving though, the last few games.
You know,
for the most part.
People may say, gosh, 64%. That's failing in school. I mean, Trevor may be okay with that, with a 64, but I'm not okay with it.
He'd like to have a 64.
But when the game is on the line and you're sweating, your heart, a lot of guys can go out, or girls can go out there and shoot in a relaxed situation, but when your heart's beating and you got to step up there, and this is the JV and everybody's average is totaled in. So there's a world of difference. You know, you remember Shaquille Olajuwon, one of the greatest players in our lifetime. I mean, he was a horrible free throw shooter.
Yep.
Matter of fact, they put rules in. Remember, it was a hack-a-shack, you remember?
Oh, yeah.
Where they'd foul him on purpose because he shot, I don't know, about 40%.
It is horrible.
But you're right, tight games. Free throw shooting is very clutch in tight games, and you ain't got to make them all, but you got to make a certain percentage.
Yeah, and the other thing you mentioned, you talk about the pressure, the adrenaline, the heart's beating. You know, you've got, like with Cleveland, walking about, you got huge crowds screaming where you can't hardly hear yourself, and here you are, some poor little. I feel for them. You know, I think, man, I'd hate to be that young girl taking that shot there. And
you got to train your mind to block that out.
Yeah.
And that's easier said than done. But the only way to do that is repetition, repetition, repetition. You know, I've probably come up short. You can't do it all. Like, if you want to be a great shooter and all you do is do the drills in my, 2-hour practices that are now an hour and a half, if that's the only shooting you do, you'll never be a great shooter.
Gotta do it on your own.
You have to put in time on your own. It's just like school. You know, you can make good grades in some classes, but some you got to go home and you've got to put in some time. You know, when you go off to college, you know, every hour in the class they're suggesting 2 outside. So you have to put in the repetition, and of course your mechanics need to be right. Your follow through, but it's an interesting sport, and some girls master certain things more than others, and it's a lot like life. You kind of get out of it what you put into it.
Well, I heard a coach one time talking about girls shooting. He was addressing his team, I guess it was at the time. I can't remember now exactly what it was. He said, just stop and listen. Just listen. You hear that? Thump, thump, thump. That's the sound of a girl dribbling a basketball in the gym that's going to beat you because you're not doing the same thing. And you got, like you say, you got to do it on your own.
Well, to a certain extent, and you got to have a balance in life. And
right.
And sometimes the best practice is a day off, but that can't be the norm. You know, if you only practice on the days you feel good, you're not going to be very good. I mean, there's days we get up and come to work, we don't feel good. We have to compete sometimes. And I think our Bearcats, by and large, are pretty tough girls and pretty dedicated. And I'm blessed to have a bunch of kids that'll run through the wall for this school and for this program. And the history here demands your best. The history of the Bearcat program demands your best. And the day that we can't give our best, then it's time for somebody else to coach this team.
There's a reason the Bears are the winningest team in the history of Tennessee high school basketball, either boys or girls. It's because of the excellent tradition. You know, we are an elite program, and people look at us as an elite program, and we've got some elite girls playing, and I hope it continues that way for many more years to come.
Absolutely.
We've got 2 road games, or a road game tonight at Oodlewall. You got a home game with Ray County this coming Friday night. Wish you the best of luck. Stay away from the injury bug. Let's get Erica back, healed, and where she can play and contribute to the team, and hopefully nobody else will fall by the wayside. Coach, we always appreciate you coming in, taking time out of your schedule to talk with us here on the Bear Network, and wish you good luck in the upcoming games. And we'll talk about this next week. We'll look at the schedule. We'll have some challenges.
Yeah, let's get a couple of players there next week. Yeah. And I apologize. I should have had someone here today. Just we got a lot going on. This is going on during the school day. And I didn't get my ducks in a row, but we'll have a couple girls in here, at least one next Tuesday. And anybody can come out and watch, especially Friday. It's going to be another Lynn Jones Foundation night.
Friday night.
So we're expecting a pretty good crowd here.
Yeah.
I mean, he's offering up some free tickets to these elementary kids, and come out and watch the Bearcats. I think it'll be worth your time.
We'll have that game broadcast on Mix 104.1. Mr. Schroy and his group will be streaming that game live on the Bear Network. But come on out here. It's just different when you're here inside Jim Smith Arena. We appreciate you being here, and look forward to having a big crowd here. Lynn Jones, and man, what a blessing he is to the program and to the community. Not just at Bradley Center, but the community as a whole. That guy does so much work, and I've interviewed him several times, and he don't really want to talk about it. You know, he wants to deflect the credit, and he does so much behind the scenes that nobody knows about, and that's what makes him a solid contributor to the community and to a lot of things.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's been a blessing to a lot of children. Yep.
He's brought a bunch of elementary school kids in here from different schools in the last few years. Until next time, we're going to sign off for now, saying this has been the Jason Reuter Show on the Bear Network. Until next time, God bless and go Bearcats.